Long-acting human growth hormone is an emerging treatment in people with short stature. As the name indicates, it's used once weekly as opposed to daily. But how could this be practical for bodybuilders? Well, if you're new here, my name is Coach Kolton. I coach bodybuilders all around the world, and growth hormone, as you probably know watching this, is a highly used product in the sports industry. Yes, that's right, sports industry, basketball, football, and bodybuilding. And because of growth hormone's unique capabilities, it is quite effective at causing growth in all natures, whether that's neurocognitive or physiological in nature by growing muscle mass and cross-sectional area. But one of the biggest issues with growth hormone is its administration frequency. You need to administer it sometimes multiple times a day, but at least daily to get a sizable effect. Herein lies the development of long-acting growth hormone, or in other words, a product that has been revealed as somatostatin. And I could honestly be saying that so wrong, it is just how I read it when I'm going through data. Now, a study that compares long-acting growth hormone to short-acting growth hormone shows really interesting results in the outcomes over years of time, not just a week or 2 weeks, but literal years of time. Now, a lot of these studies are done in prepubertal humans or children who are short in stature and lacking growth and development. And what is commonly found in almost all of the data that is out there currently on long-acting growth hormone is it's just as effective at two things. And these two things are critical when it relates to bodybuilding and accumulating as much mass as possible. Now, before I even get started in this video, I do want to clarify this is for educational purposes only. It is a new product on the market, and I want to discuss it so you guys have an awareness of what this product might do for you. And this is by no means a direction on what you should do, nor how you should do it. But these two things that long-acting growth hormone seems to influence quite well is the promotion of growth. The children with idiopathic short stature seem to grow just as well as the kids who are using regular daily dosed growth hormone in long-term results. And what's really important is the second feature, is that the serum levels of IGF-1 in both groups are highly similar, and in fact, the long-acting growth hormone group seems to have a higher serum IGF-1. And it's interesting as to why. It is proposed that the reason that the higher IGF-1 serum levels are detected is because that the dosing frequency is much less, once a week compared to every day. And the probability for a child or that child's parents to forget a dosing is quite high in comparison to one that's only needed subcutaneously once a week. But here is the really interesting factor about long-acting growth hormone. Two studies assessed how long-acting growth hormone affects nighttime pulsation of endogenous growth hormone production. And we know very clearly that if you inject normal growth hormone, we'll call it, or the rather short-acting growth hormone, it does seem to suppress endogenous production of growth hormone as you would normally do across the nighttime. However, what long-acting growth hormone does so uniquely is prevents any suppression. In fact, growth hormone throughout the day is still secreting at a normal diurnal level, which means it's pulsating at different times throughout the day, secreting at different times throughout the day, dependent on what that individual needs, as well as the actual time of day. Is it sunny or is it nighttime? Another interesting factor is that in all populations that have been treated with short-acting growth hormone, or again, just regular growth hormone, the one you have to inject subcutaneously every day to get reasonable and measurable results, we typically see that in that group of people who are taking that normal growth hormone therapy are highly subjective to diabetic tendencies. They usually have a higher fasting blood glucose and a higher fasting insulin and C-peptide. But with long-acting growth hormone, this doesn't seem to be the case. There's no metabolic dysregulation of any kind in the data that we have right now. Compared to daily growth hormone administration, there does seem to be metabolic implications that happen over a long and short period of time. And if growth hormone itself, when daily injected, is combined with a high carbohydrate diet model, you then subsequently suffer insulin resistance, which can cultivate diabetic-like symptoms. And if you're trying to grow muscle, being insulin resistant, having a high fasting blood glucose, a high serum C-peptide, you are really going to screw your gains in the long run. And so we can deduct from this information that possibly, we just don't know because there's no research being done on bodybuilders using growth hormone actively, but plausibly it is not too far off to assume that the same effect might happen in our population, meaning that a bodybuilder could take long-acting growth hormone and not suffer the metabolic consequences of doing so. However, it is worth again saying that there is no data going head-to-head with which compound is effectively going to put on more lean mass. We truly don't know those extrapolations, but one can assume that if it's making children grow at a sizable rate and repairing their idiopathic short stature as effectively as daily administration of growth hormone, you could say that they're likely going to have the same outcome as far as tissue growth in a bodybuilder who is trying to accumulate the most tissue possible. What's also interesting is that there was no contraindications about sleepiness or any water retention or really any negative side effects. In fact, most people praised the growth hormone treatment because it was less intensive as daily growth hormone. However, there still are potential pitfalls with long-acting growth hormone. One of those being it really dysregulates the common profile or secretion of growth hormone naturally, which could cause differences in molecular structuring and cause long-term genetic potential issues. Now again, previous studies have very clearly supported the non-inferiority of long-acting growth hormone with short-acting growth hormone and its effectiveness in growth velocity being increased at a sizable measurement compared to daily injections, as well as a greatly improved body composition over a certain period of time, usually 12 months. But most of our research is supporting that long-acting growth hormone is really just as effective as daily growth hormone usage. And in fact, it's very well tolerated, probably more so than short-acting or daily injected growth hormone because of its lack of side effects, its lack of metabolic influence, its lack of direct impacts on endogenous production of growth hormone. And when you think about the treatment duration that a child goes through, which is about 12 months, it saves that child 1,500 shots every single year. And I don't know about you, but I certainly don't like the idea of being a pincushion. In fact, if I could remove all of my injections and still get the same results at a super physiological level, I would 100% take that bet. But the moral of this story is that long-acting growth hormone seems to be just as effective, if not better, than short-acting or daily usable growth hormone. There's a lot of coaches out there who assume that it's not going to be as effective because growth hormone in its nature is contextual. When you use it, changes how it works in a sense. Taken in a fasted state with a lower blood glucose, it causes a lot of lipolysis. Taken pre-bed, it can have a higher upregulation in IGF-1 levels the following day, creating more skeletal muscle growth ideally. Whereas long-acting insulin, you're not going to have that interesting sort of unique event where you can put it in different scenarios contextually, but I'd actually be curious to see if that even matters in the first place. Because again, we don't have data on contextual use of growth hormone in a fasted state, non-fasted state, or just in a bodybuilder slash athlete altogether. So what's to say that long-acting growth hormone might be any different, or if not more beneficial? But I'd be curious to know what you guys think down below. Please comment, like this video to push it into the algorithm so more people could hear about this stuff and we can grow our community here. But I think I learned the most outside of papers from practical application with you guys. And I don't know about you, but I have seen the prices for long-acting growth hormone, and specifically the one formulation that's out right now, and it is ridiculous. But if you have tried it, I would like to hear your anecdotes. Did it work well? Did it have negative consequences or side effects? And did you find a benefit compared to short-acting growth hormone? These are questions I'm excited to see as the years come on. It is for sale on the underground market in some specific locations. It is just highly, highly expensive, but I think it'll become more readily available for people who want to use it as a recreational thing. When that time comes, I think we'll see a really interesting effect in the general population of bodybuilding and possibly a beneficial one. But until the next video, deuces.